So this is really late. I think even by my standards probably the latest, but here are my June favorites. So this is really late. I like to give the excuse that I was traveling a lot in June and July. I really was though, but no excuse. But anyway, in June I took a trip to New York City with my family, like my extended family, my parents and my in-laws and the kids, and then after we went to Cuba, just the husband and I, and Cuba is one of my favorites. I really love the country. I love the food. Oh my gosh, the seafood is, the lobsters are so fresh and so cheap. The prawns though, I mean, if you know me, you know I love prawns in general, but these are, they're not super huge.
That's what she said.
But they're like shrimp-like, but very sweet. And the seafood just in general is amazing. They grill it and use a lot of garlic and spice, and not spice like chili spice, but my mouth is watering just thinking about it. Alright, so in Cuba, actually one of my favorites that I wanted to make mention of is a Cuban cocktail called the Negron. So Cuba, I mean, known for like the mojito, and the Negron is kind of like a mojito, I think, but there are some differences. So mojito, you use lime juice. Oh wait, sorry, before I say that, like, can I just say that I thought when they said a Negron, I thought they meant like a Negroni, but I was schooled. Negroni is an Italian cocktail and it's very different. Whereas the Cuban Negron is a lesser known cocktail, but it's yummy, in my opinion. So okay, back to it. It's kind of like a mojito, so it's lime juice, but instead of sugar, they use honey, which I love because the honey gives it such a nice, rich taste, and yeah, I just love honey. And then then definitely rum for both cocktails because Cuba known for its rum, and Thai basil, which is kind of random that it's Thai basil. Okay, I don't know much about cooking. I don't know if Thai basil is like a thing or if it's actually from Thailand. Who knows? But you know, for mojito you use mint, so those are the main differences. But it's a very refreshing drink. It's a bit sweeter because of the honey, and the Thai basil gives it a very fragrant twist. So yummy. Yeah, so the Cuban Negron is one of my new favorites. Now I just need to find it in Singapore because I think if I go to a bar here, they will think I mean Negroni. So if you know where in Singapore makes a good Cuban Negron, drop me a line in the comment box below. But even if they can't do a Negron because it's not as common, maybe a place that does a killer mojito would be nice as well. Let me know. Right, so I was in the US, as I said, and because of that I actually went shopping. And so this is I didn't shop a whole lot, but this is one of my favorite buys from the outlet shopping in Woodbury Common, which is in New Jersey, well, that's still in New York, but not in Manhattan. So it's this super dry cap. Okay, I like it because it's pink, but it's a nice shade of pink. And then it has this like very summery vibe because of the palm trees. And I like that it's tri-colored. I don't know, I find that it goes with a lot more things and it makes it look a lot more fun and exciting. So this was not expensive at all. It was on super sale. I think it cost me like 20 US bucks. And it fits me just nice. I like chocolate caps because I have like the highest forehead in the world, so I need like a really high, like a deep kind of hat to fit my head. I can't do those shallow brims and those shallow cut caps, and I also like when the brim is long enough. So this is nice, fits me nice, and you know, like I hate doing my hair, like it doesn't always look like this. This is because I actually went to the salon before this for something else. So yeah, when I don't do my hair, this is perfect. So because I travel a lot this month, I spent a lot of time on the plane, and SQ, I gotta say, good selection of movies and documentaries and all that shows as usual. So I actually watched a few things this month that I want to share with you that have made my favorites list. So one of them is Victoria. I think I may have mentioned Victoria season 1 in a previous favorites episode. I can't remember which favorites episode, but I'm sure I mentioned it. So Victoria charts the life of Queen Victoria from when she was a kid to you know, as she married Prince Albert, and as they had so way too many kids. So this is season 3. Like the last time I watched it on SQ was season 1. You need to bring season 2 SQ. And then, oh, maybe I missed it. I don't travel that often, and I fly budget too. So anyway, so this trip I caught up with it, and it's season 3, and they've already been married a while. It was a little bit heartbreaking because part of what I really liked in season 1 is that Victoria married someone who's sort of beneath her. He's a prince and she's a queen, so there's always been that sort of almost like a struggle. Oh, I don't know why men cannot take it when their women like happen to be on top. But yeah, I feel like there's a bit of that struggle. Prince Albert tries to find his place within the palace, and it must not be easy being married to a wife who's like the queen, who's basically whatever she says goes, and whatever she says no is like immediately vetoed. So it's quite interesting, and I really enjoy English period dramas. I just enjoy everything about it, and I love it even more. I mean, I love all the movie and TV versions of like classic literary novels, but even more I enjoy stuff that has a historical slant to it. So one of my favorites. If you're on SQ, make sure you watch it. Another one of my favorites is actually on Netflix. It's the husband made me watch quite a few things on this trip because we had a lot of time traveling in between places. And so one of them is Cuba Libre, which is like an 8-part documentary series on Cuba. It was great because we had guides who brought us through the country and stuff, but it was a lot more detailed, an account of Cuban history, and it was interesting because they actually got war veterans, they got Cuban exiles to kind of give their side of the story. And if you, like me, are very interested in politics and to see how communism got so convoluted along the way, it's a really good documentary that you should watch. I recommend it to my dad, and even though he has no plans to go to Cuba anytime soon, he watched the 8-part series as well and he liked it as well. So I think it's a must for people, history buffs, or people who are interested in politics in general. Yeah, if you just want to know a bit more about the world, go look for Cuba Libre on Netflix. Another, I don't know if I should call this a favorite, but it's kind of like a favorite but a sad one, and I want to mention this. So the husband told me about this series called When They See Us, and it's basically about these 5 boys who were coined the Central Park 5, and it's very sad because it's basically 5 boys who were accused of committing a murder and rape that they did not commit at all, and it shows basically the weaknesses in the US jury system and how at that time everyone was looking for a scapegoat. There was no one coming forward, there was no proper suspect, and so they kind of got coerced into admitting that they had committed a crime that they didn't commit. So now they're known as the Exonerated 5, and I didn't watch the series because my husband said that he said I wouldn't be able to take it. I really am one of those, I get very affected by movies and by books and by music, so I actually try to only read things that are uplifting. Like, it doesn't have to be happy exactly, but it has to be uplifting. And he said that I wouldn't be able to sit through it. So he said, okay, why don't you watch the 1-hour special? So Oprah, who's one of my heroes, so she did a 1-hour special with the Exonerated 5, and also with the 5 men who played the Exonerated 5, because Netflix made it into a 4-part series. And my goodness, it was just an hour long, the Oprah special, which is called When They See Us Now. I had to stop halfway because I was like in tears. I was really like angry and sad and moved at the same time. And this is from having not even watched the 4-part series on Netflix. So it was, yeah, I guess I'm gonna say it's one of my favorites because I thought that Netflix did a great job by letting this story be told. The director did a great job in believing in the story and pushing for it to go forward, and Oprah, as usual, did a great job in talking to the 5 men and giving us a glimpse into, you know, what it was like in prison for them. Some of them were sent away for as long as 15 years. Can you imagine being 15 years in jail for a crime you didn't commit? I mean, it makes me so pissed off and so upset just thinking about it. So it was really moving, and it was also a good reminder to me to use media and social media for good. Like in this case, you know, there's so much negativity going around, and this is not really positive, but it's used for good because this story had to be told, and it kind of spurred me on to remind me to always use whatever following. It's not that I have a huge following, but whatever following, and I thank you guys for following me all this while, for something good. And you know, hopefully we can all spread good messages and tell the stories that need to be told. So go watch it. I warn you, it's not an easy watch. Even my husband, who's quite dispassionate when he watches things, he was quite moved. He had to actually stop a few times as well when he watched it. So it's also a series on Netflix. No, this is not sponsored by Netflix. We just happened to watch all these on Netflix on the trip. So go have a look. Along the vein of being on the road, I've also got a chance to read quite a lot. I will share with you a lot more about the books that I read. Some I liked, some I didn't like. So the ones that I didn't like as much didn't make it to the favorites. But some I will distill into separate videos because I think they have very useful messages. So one of the books I read was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. This is not a new book. If you know this is a very classic book, and it's actually where, like, a bit the start of positive psychology and where that was born. I think that this guy, sort of Viktor E. Frankl, started this whole thought about positive psychology. So the first part of the book, he's actually a psychiatrist who was thrown into a concentration camp in World War II, and it's not an easy read, guys. Like, the first half of the book, he writes about his time in a Nazi concentration camp, and even though he writes rather dispassionately, in fact, I don't know if that makes it worse, he gave all the facts in such a almost emotionless way, like such a matter-of-fact kind of way, that it was quite hard to take. I mean, I've read a lot of books on the war, and I've been to countries where I've visited concentration camps and war sites, but I don't know, something about the war, especially the World War II, the Nazis and all that, just really upsets me. So the first part of the book is him telling about that story, but the main point of the book is he talks about man's search for meaning. I mean, that is the title, and how, you know, before people would say that man's search for meaning is in pleasure, but he realized that actually what man really searches for is the pursuit of meaning in one's life. And actually, I want to read some quotes from the book. Where is my phone? So I actually put down some quotes that I wanted to share with you, in case you don't get the chance to read the book. Okay, so one quote that I really like is, "But happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. One must have a reason to be happy. Once that reason is found, however, one becomes happy automatically." So he talks about how it's not just a pursuit of like, oh, it's pleasurable, or something like, oh, I want to be happy, but that happiness will ensue when you do something that has meaning. The other quote that I really like, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost anyhow." So he talks, so the first part is about his time in the concentration camp, and the second part is all about his, it's a bit dry. Okay, I warn you first, if you are like not into like psychiatry or psychology and all of that, it's a little bit dry and scientific, but you can skim through it, you still will get a good sense of it. So he talks about his school of thought called logotherapy, which is the search for a meaningful life, and he talks about how meaning is not always fun and is not always happy, but that's basically what we are pursuing. And yeah, I mean, this book was so inspiring that I'm ever more inspired in my quest to learn more about positive psychology. I think I've mentioned this before, but if you missed it, I am studying. I'm doing an applied diploma in positive psychology, and I hope to be able to share some of what I've learned with you, just so that, you know, we can all be a bit happier and learn to live happier and more flourishing lives as human beings. Okay, so on to something lighter. One of my favorites that I found, because I also not only went to Cuba and the US, that's why this video is late, I also went to Bangkok with my netball team, and that's one of my favorites because it was really fun. We played with the Thai national team that's going to the SEA Games, and the Thai youth team, I think they're the under 21s. Yeah, I mean, they put up quite a good fight, and whoa, one of the girls like in the national team is like super tall, like she's taller than some of the, I played with the mixed team, and she's taller than some of the guys in our mixed team who are like 1.8 meters tall, so I think she's really, really tall. But anyway, what I wanted to share with you is one of the favorites that I got on that trip are these clips. Oh my gosh, look so cute. Yeah, so I've been very into hair accessories. In case you haven't seen, I will link, watch to the end, I will put my hair accessories video at the end of this, how to wear hair accessories. So I I've been growing out this fringe is finally grown out because I had bangs, and in that in-between period I use the hair accessories to death. But to be honest, most times I use hair accessories and I count hats and headbands as hair accessories too, because I don't know what to do with my hair. It's super like stick straight, which people think is nice, but when you have it, it's not so fun. So it's really stick straight and really fine. And also, I actually just don't like doing my hair. Honestly, I like playing with makeup and I find that fun, but I find hair like such a hassle. Plus, it's very tiring to keep doing that. So yeah, so this is one of my buys from Bangkok that I really liked. And recently, I just got back from a trip to Korea. So I've actually curated some really nice hair accessories there for you as well. I'll put them into a video. And I actually bought back extra sets so that you can buy them as well. Let me know if you're excited for that. And if you like, you know, like you want to see more hair accessory stuff or hair tutorial or hair videos. I'm not great at them, but I'm coming from the point of view of someone who's really bad with doing my hair. Drop me a line in the comment box. Alright, so my final favorite for the month is something very fluffy and sweet and yummy. No, not me, I'm not fluffy. Sometimes.
Say what?
Okay, it's basically graham pancakes. So graham is, I'm not a super foodie, you know, I just like what I like. And I have very specific tastes. So graham is like a pancake chain in Japan. I've never had it in Japan. And a friend of mine opened it, so she invited me to the opening. And I was like, ugh, pancakes. I mean, I went to support, but I'm not a huge fan of pancakes. I don't really like light things, so I prefer heavy stuff. So I went for it and I realized, oh my gosh, these were the yummiest, fluffiest pancakes ever. And they came with like cream and maple syrup. Oh, I may not like pancakes, but I love maple syrup. So I really liked it, plus it has that wobbly effect. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Yeah, so I think they have one branch at Vivo City. I think they're opening some other branches. Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Not just saying this because it's opened by a friend. If you've been to Japan, you might have tasted it. And yeah, I hear they only make a limited amount daily, but it's so good, you have to try it. Alright, so those are my favorites for the month of June. I know it's a bit late, but my favorites in general. I promise July will come out a lot sooner. Drop me a line below. Let me know what favorites you found for the month, whether it's books or movies or songs. Drop me a line, let me know so I can check them out. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you on Facebook and on Instagram.